Because for today, for a while now, we're going to treat you as Tulsi as well. But how does it feel to be back?
I think that for a 49-year-old to have, as you have very, very diligently and kindly espoused, to have a 25-year run, not only in media but also politics, that is a blessed run, because in our country's history, never has somebody managed to, with God's blessings, managed to be successful in both these very competitive fields. And more so if you're a woman, to be at the top of the game continuously for 2.5 decades in media and politics is no mean feat, but that is also somewhere where destiny and luck has had a role to play.
3 weeks from now is when the show goes back on air. It's been a long wait. I'm going to get into the success of public life and acting in general in a moment. But 3 weeks is a very short time. You've been a star, you've been in the limelight for a long time. Are you nervous about this big return, or are you like already vibing with it?
I'm a politician. Nothing that you throw at me will make me nervous ever. But I think that when people look at television today and how it was positioned 25 years ago, there's a huge difference. Most individuals that are associated with television do not get the respect that we deserve as an industry in terms of the revenues that we generate, in terms of the impact that we create. And I am in this counting even the NDTV family. For instance, if you look at the numbers last year, television itself generated a revenue up to 30,000 crores. OTT, which is now a very integral part of how stories are told in our country, generated close to 24,000 crores worth of revenue. To have a creative force get unleashed across both these platforms in terms of revenue means an impact that we will create in a 55,000 odd crore market. And I think that when the Prime Minister speaks about creative industries and how India can leverage its economic, socio-cultural potential in such a market, of course, is a defining feature. We are very proud that it is one such of not commercial success, but also cultural impact.
No, you're being very self-effacing, but
no,
you were
a
pioneer. Let's call facts today. I'd love to talk about the figures as well, and you've just put them out. But Ms. Irani, you were a pioneer. I have colleagues here calling you the OG TV star of an entire generation.
Well, you have a colleague here who has known me since 2003.
That's right. Neha from our guest team has known you for that long.
Yes.
And she's told me all those stories, which is why she's tracked your journey all this while.
Yes.
So, when you talk about those figures in the TV industry, 3 weeks from now, when the show goes back on air, 1,800 episodes over 8 years, calling you a household names feels like the most inadequate thing that's possible, because I know what it's actually been like. Confession, I actually saw you as a kid at an airport once, and I saw the crowd that was around you. So what does that feel like? I'm trying to explore the anticipation in your mind, because you're not a stranger to this.
I don't think that people understand, who have possibly witnessed me from afar, that I'm not being self-effacing about the whole situation. I am mindful of the fact that I became a part of families. I became a part of individual lives. You have a memory of me from your childhood, as you say. That in itself is a great responsibility. And to oscillate between the real and the real world and still maintain that individual entity. Because you are a part of larger organizations. When you're a part of, let's say, both BJP, or you are part of a television network or a series, you are just one of a bigger, larger ecosystem. In that crowd, to still maintain your individual identity, to still create that individual impact, that I think humbles you. And you want to ensure that you're still relatable to people. That a kid who sees you at an airport, you must have seen many. But why does that one episode leave an imprint on your mind?
Because of the number of people.
More so, I think, because you've seen also my journey as a public figure. So there is a relatability. So as an individual, you'll always want to ensure that that relatability stays for that individual. And for that, it is very essential that you're mindful of that responsibility. That people should not feel that they're alienated. They should not feel that even if they disagree with some of your views, they would still want to hear your views. So the fact that you're a conversation starter, humility has to be at the center of it.
Speaking of conversation starter, by the way, while I was preparing for this interview, and frankly, I was looking at some of the things that fans were saying on Instagram, and an entire generation is going to be looking at Smriti Irani's return to television. People who weren't born when the show was on air are going to be relating to it all over again, and we'll get into that in a little bit as well. But I wanted to quote 3 things that stood out to me, and I wanted you to react to them. All from fans, by the way. I'm literally tearing up. I saw this like 1700 times on Instagram. The biggest comeback of Indian TV. Ab milega Anupama ko barabar ka takkar, and so many such things being said.
I think
does that add the pressure on you?
No, I've never been the kind to take pressure, and I think that you've seen, I've given you enough political evidence that I may give somebody pressure, but I don't take it. The issue is that, do you work for a larger purpose? And what is the larger purpose? The larger purpose is, can you get that due recognition for the hard work that goes towards a product? So we are in a newsroom right now. You're the face of that newsroom for this particular interview. But there's a camera person there. There are assistants, there are editors, there are others in HR, in admin, who ensure that this conversation is valued or added in terms of value. And I think this part of my journey is to bring focus to those people who are never in front of the camera, but who are the deciding factor as to the impact that we create. And I don't think that that is an issue that is going to be addressed by anybody who's a part either of this venture or who are responding to it. The idea is that I'm the first person from television who became a cabinet minister of information and broadcasting. I'm the first person from television who had the opportunity to become the first female education cabinet ranked minister. I'm the first person from television who went into the CCPA, which is known as the mini cabinet. It's the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. I'm the first person from my industry who went and became the textile cabinet ranked minister, first to become minority. So I am mindful of the kind of opportunity, the confluence of these 2 opportunities got me in my life. And for me then, what is my responsibility towards my own industry is that we are the last rung of how we are valued in the entertainment chain. Movies get the biggest amount of, I think, eyeballs, respect, or fascination. OTT stars now have their own sensibilities which are being celebrated across. Television still gets a little bit of the stepmotherly treatment. How can I bring it the respect that it truly deserves? Because this is not an easy job. We have to be working straight for 12 hours a day. This is not a job that gives you a longevity of career. You have to prove your talent every day. And this is a field which employs close to 2.5 million people in our country. These facets of our industry have never been spoken of. So who can bring forth these facets that need to be respected about the technical teams that work with us, about the people who work with us, who make us on screen possible?
Does that make you a bit of a soldier for television in a world of OTT? Which has changed so many things. It feels like you're carrying some weapons on your shoulder and walking back into
I'm not carrying weapons. I think I may end up voicing a lot of other voices that are unheard right now. Because what mostly people see about television is just the actor. The producer, the director, the technician never gets seen. The producer, obviously, given their resources, or the directors, given their resources and stature, do get a little bit of respect. But the technician never gets. The editor never gets seen. The writer never gets heard. And I think my endeavor will be to make those people heard, because it's not just you may find an actor lacking. But imagine there are 100 families who will depend on you for their livelihood. And I'm very conscious of that responsibility.
This isn't the first time, Ms. Irani, that you've had a chance to mount this so-called return to television, and we're all looking forward to that. I know that in 2014, and you've spoken about this, that you did have a chance to get back into the show, or there was
I was working till
Yeah,
2014 simultaneously both
Correct.
in
So-
media and politics.
So tell us about that decision that you took, because that's when your life
A
in
lot of
politics
people-
actually began in a big way.
No, it didn't. In fact, I was already a two-time MP by
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
I never spoke about my individual political journey.
In government, yeah.
Because I became one of those who spoke in defense of my government, who spoke to create a narrative about my party, who spoke in favor of or to defend my ideology. So there was no Smriti Irani to speak about Smriti Irani or her journey. And in 2014, when I got an opportunity to serve in the cabinet under Prime Minister Modi, I knew that this is a 24/7 privilege service,
Yeah.
and you cannot hold the nation's needs, wants, or the Prime Minister's directions hostage or lull them just because you have other commitments in the media business. It was a conscious decision. There was also this understanding that there is this negativity in politics, that actors are not very serious about constitutional service, that actors don't know how to legislate, that actors do not know how to position themselves on issues which have not only political impact in our country, but can also have a repercussion geopolitically. And I wanted to be the one that possibly showcases the genuine basic capacity of somebody from my industry and from the media fraternity, because I didn't begin only as an actor.
Correct.
I was a stringer for a television news network before I oscillated to becoming an actor. So I'd seen many facets of the industry, from being a stringer, then to becoming an executive producer on a news bulletin, then to becoming also an executive producer on covering elections. I mean, I did elections in the late 90s, and I think even you were not around.
Yeah.
So I went from news to GEC, and my political journey was also simultaneous. Even in my political journey, I was very clear. I knew that as a popular actor, you had the facility of being parachuted. You had the facility of saying, oh no, I don't want to do the hard stuff. I don't want to be a part of the rigor and toil of grassroots politics. But I wanted the respect of my colleagues. So I worked from the grassroots all the way up, because I value what my colleagues brought to the table from villages across India, from various professions across India. And I was also conscious of the fact that we as youngsters then, not that you're over the hill when you're 49, but I was conscious of the fact that if you want a very robust political system in your country, then the best of all professions and professionals should come into active politics. So to manage and balance between all those aspirations and all those conscious decisions, that is why I led my political life the way I did.
Yeah.
It was easy for me to have
And
a
we've
PR.
seen that up close, yeah.
It was easy for me to have a PR team which could have espoused how great an actor I am, or how popular I am, and what a great political impact I'm creating. But ultimately, does it help a larger national cause? It does not. Does it help my politics, my political organization? It does not. For me, what was important in the last 10 years was, how do I serve my country better? And how do I take the Prime Minister's narrative across the country? And because I was singularly focused on how my government is perceived, how my Prime Minister is perceived, how my party is perceived, I never had the time to talk about my 25 years in politics.
So when you were,
So a lot of people presume that I came into politics in 2014.
using the phrase
not.
public life is problematic, because you were in public life the minute you stepped into the spotlight. But Ms. Irani,
No, I've been a BJP party office bearer
for a long
since
time.
2003.
That's right. So like
So many people
basically 3
today
years
are-
after
So no, many
Kyunki
people
actually
today,
began.
many people today are a bit flabbergasted.
Yeah.
That how do you balance? I said, but I've been balancing for
So for the
22
5 years of the show's run, you were parallelly a spokesperson of the BJP.
No, not on. I was never the official spokesperson. I'm very lucky that I'm always called that. I've been the national secretary twice. I've been the national president of the women's wing. I've been the vice president of the youth wing. Dharmendra Pradhan used to be my president
Right.
in 2003. My counterpart, colleague in Maharashtra was a gentleman who's today the Chief Minister, Devendra Fadnavis. So I've worked through that whole lot.
Yeah.
And I still remember, Gadkari ji, who is the current minister, I remember in 2003, when he saw me in the youth wing, he actually turned around and told somebody, because he'd seen me as Tulsi somewhere. He said, my God, she's very old. Why would you have her in the youth wing? Till somebody told him, Nitinji, no, that's the part and the actor that she plays. In real life, she's a 25-year-old kid. So I've seen the impact that my screen image has had on how I'm perceived. Not every time positively. At some times, it's been a burden as well. But the issue is, at the end of the day, 25 years of experience, do my colleagues say, yes, she worked with us in the trenches? Yes, they do.
The amazing thing about both these lives, it's one life, but these two parallel tracks that your life has taken, one in the media, in the spotlight, in front of the cameras, and the other in public life and politics. Has there ever been a dilemma? Have you ever missed one more than the other?
No, because every part was a conscious choice. So you can't miss. You know exactly what you're skipping or what you're giving up, so that you can fulfill your commitment for the other.
But it was a trade-off.
It has to be. Life cannot be all roses. Life cannot be that I want everything for myself and I will not give up something so that I can reach a particular standard or a particular goal. So I was very, very mindful that you give up a robust career or you bring that to a halt because you have a larger cause to service. And I still remember in 2003, Jaswant Singh ji, the then minister in Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, and rightly so today, he told me, he said, you know what, Smriti, you're coming into politics, but remember, Delhi will be merciless. So make sure that you cultivate, and I was what, 25 then, 26, and I fought my first election when I was 27 from Chandni Chowk in 2004, and he said, better do whatever, but just have somebody doing some good PR for you, otherwise you'll be crushed. And I very naively looked at Jaswant Singh ji and I said, but why aren't we serving the country? Why would I need somebody's PR service for me? So he just smiled. I still remember, he gave me a nice cup of tea. He says, you'll learn. I still haven't. I haven't learned. But I'm glad that I've had the tutelage of such legends. I mean, I've seen Atal Bihari Vajpayee at work. I've seen Lal Krishna Advani ji at work. I've seen Kushabhau Thakre. I was there when Nanaji passed off. I was there when, we've seen women. Today, being a female leader is often spoken about as though it's a great opportunity. But I have seen women in BJP struggle through some of the, I think, most challenging geographies. I've seen Sumitra Mahajan at work. To be a 6-7-time MP is no mean feat, that 2 decades ago. Aligarh, which you know is a very tough constituency. I've seen Ms. Gautam win from there. Delhi, we are sitting today and talking about. Anita Arya was a mayor here in the 1990s. I have seen Jayavanti Ben Mehta. I don't know how many people even remember that Jayavanti Ben Mehta was MOS in Atalji's cabinet, and she had petroleum energy with her, which again was not something that women were, kind of leading. And remember, that was the era of sanctions and such geopolitical pressure on India. She was there. So I was there when Vasundhara Raje was for the first time announced as the BJP CM face. I was a part of the team that went, to support her in the elections in 2003. I was there to witness, if you remember, Uma Bharti was jailed in Hubli. I actually was the one who went with release papers to Hubli. To see Uma Bharti come up. So I've seen history unfold before me. I've seen Narendra Modi as Chief Minister.
You've seen all of these people.
I have seen all of this, but for me, Shiv, what was important is, how do I give back? Right? So
that's also a burden on you then.
No,
you feel like a trailblazer.
No. It's a responsibility. I've learned from all these legends. So how do you give back? Leadership is not about how great I become. It's about, can I give others an opportunity to become leaders as well? So I still remember when I was the national president for BJP Women's Wing, Meenakshi Lekhi was brought into the BJP. I made her the vice president. Lalita Kumar Mangalam, again vice president. Lalita became the NCW chairperson. Vijay Rahatkar, the current NCW chairperson, was my general secretary. Darshana Jardosh, who was the former minister in Modi II, was my general secretary. The idea was, Pratima Bhaumik was in my executive committee, the first female to become minister from Tripura. Who else? Asha Lakra, she was national
This wasn't
secretary.
just symbolism in politics.
It was actually bringing these women. Sharda Devi, the current BJP president from the state of Manipur, was with me as vice president. The idea was that these are women from different walks of life, from different states of India, who had such potential. And we worked together when we were not in power. And now to see Prime Minister Modi bring them to such positions of influence, of service, that for me was me saying a thank you to all the great legends who we witnessed, from the trenches. So when I looked at a Vasundhara Raje, when I look at a Mridula Sinha, she became Governor Goa. It's like life comes full circle.
Do you miss active politics? Politics goes up and down.
Not in active
Are you still? Do you still consider yourself a politician?
I'm a politician first, but they used to earlier say actor turned politician. Somebody last night in some newsroom said, well, actor turned politician turned actor turned what? The idea that a human being could do both, and successfully so, is an idea which will be very difficult to grasp. Because I'm the only one who's done it.
No, because I know you keep in touch with Amethi.
I
you
don't
keep
keep
visiting.
in touch. I am working.
You've got a base there. You're still working
But
there.
I'm working not only in Amethi, I'm working. I was last dispatched. You're given assignments within your organization. My last assignment was in Bikaner. Before that, I was dispatched to Ranchi, Jharkhand. So the organization keeps giving you work, and you have to work according to whatever your leadership decides.
Right now, in front of you, Ms. Irani, is this big TV project. It's obviously going to be a big thing. It's going to run for a while. It's going to take up a lot of your time and energy. Do you see actor turning back into a full-time politician at some point?
I am a full-time politician and a part-time actor.
So this is just a side project then?
It is a side project. For most consumers, the project is not one individual. It's always a group of actors coming together, a group of writers coming together. I am, yes, very humbly so, the most recognizable face out of that mix of people. But I'm a full-time politician, a part-time actor, just like many politicians are part-time lawyers, part-time teachers, part-time journalists. I just happen to be a bit...
So you're a full-time politician who's taking some time out to do this show?
No, I've done it simultaneously, which is what I think is difficult to grasp. But like I said, the only difference between me and my other political colleagues is they are part-time lawyers and there's no videographer along with them. There's no makeup person along with them. There's no script writer. It's just that we're all from different vocations. I'm just the one in the spotlight.
Do you think, bouncing back into your TV project now, because, when you talked about them seeing your image and saying we need someone younger as a spokesperson, etc. I'm wondering, times have changed, Ms. Irani, since the show came out. And do you think this generation, this audience, this viewership, is ready for Tulsi? Or do you think times have changed?
You don't know
Some people
how
have called it
ready we are
regressive and patriarchal, all those things.
I think
your critics have said so many things about the show and you over the years.
Couldn't care less, because the criticism was not constructive and informed. Because the show spoke about marital rape 25 years ago. The show spoke about adult literacy 25 years ago. The show spoke about euthanasia 25 years ago. And those were not issues that were touched by even mainstream cinema. We did it commercially in a television slot which was meant for family viewing and family drama. So whoever possibly took umbrage to Ekta as an individual, you need to understand that 25 years ago there was nothing called pay parity. We brought pay parity where your talent decided and not your gender how much you would get paid. The fact that Ekta was given a 10:30 slot, that was a dead slot. We created prime time, but that was a female producer. So you had a female producer shunted to a 10:30 slot, with my apologies to whoever. They thought that maybe, let's take a chance on it. And to build from scratch from there, to create a genre out of there, is something today that I'm sure that the network values as much as the producer, as much as those who've been a part of that journey. But we have to be mindful that networks have changed. One could never imagine a combination between two networks as is being proposed right now. there always was conversation about OTT being in competition with television.
Yeah.
What
Here it's
happens?
together.
What happens when they are complementary to each other? So this is, and I can't speak for the network. They have their own official spokesperson. From a creative perspective, from an somebody who has a policy kind of a experience perspective, this becomes one of the first such examples. Or what happens when you don't compete?
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens when you do a cohesive strategy? But remember that we broke records even in terms of the commercial value that we generate.
So many.
We did. And we ensured that we effused not only audiences, but also agencies that ensured this is the horse to back.
Correct.
To say that you can back a female produced show in a very, very late slot, where the female actor is the champion of the story, that was, a difficult proposition 25 years ago.
No, I know how much
Will
you
it
love
be
the show
difficult now?
this time, yeah.
Of course, there is. You have more mediums of conversation. You have more mediums of criticism. There will be some who will critique because they want you to do better. There will be some who will critique because they can't compete.
Yeah.
You should know how to differentiate.
And you, of course, know about
between-
your army of trolls and critics who are constantly
fine.
saying stuff about you.
Which is fine. I think that if you're in public life, you have to be ready
Par for the
for
course,
it.
yeah.
You cannot say that, oh, I'll be shy violet just because you're attacking me. You can't leverage the victim card. You have to be ready for it. You also have to understand that you are at a higher plane in life, where you recognize that this may be somebody's way of venting, maybe possibly emanating from a challenge they are facing in their public life or their private life, and they don't know how to respond. So you just take it with a pinch of salt and keep moving.
Did it take a lot of convincing for you to get hands around this project? What did Ekta need to do to convince you? Or did it not take any convincing
today
at all?
the network has a leader like Uday Shankar. I don't think that is often spoken about.
Yeah.
Uday has been a stalwart in Indian news.
Correct.
And not many speak about him. The fact that Uday was at the helm of, Mr. Shankar is at the helm of affairs there, he understands where the crossroads meet and what is the potential. That is a huge confidence booster. The fact that the OTT platform today has 25% of the market and the channel itself is number one. But more than that, the fact that as a creator, Ekta is aware that she is now creating something for a contemporary audience, but an audience that has an emotional foundation on which we have to build. So I think it's 3-4 elements together that make you conclude, and the fact that it will accommodate a full-time politician as a part-time actor.
Okay, amazing. So we are going to see a show that has been refurbished for
I
a new
have
generation.
no idea. I shall not tell you. For that, you will have to.
So you're not
tune
allowed to
in.
tell us anything 3
Well,
weeks
I
before
am,
the premiere?
The Smriti Irani, you know, do you think she needs a permission slip?
She doesn't, I know.
But she's also conscious of the fact that there are elements at play which are not only her personal element, but other ambitions and other elements at play.
Okay, let's come to the last part of this interview, because I know there are national issues that occupy your mind endlessly. I know for a fact that the one thing that the both of us have in common, for instance, is the military.
Yes.
And national security issues are something that we've had so many conversations about in the past as well. Operation Sindoor, incredible what we just saw. I was in Kashmir covering a part of it as well.
I have to compliment you as a journalist.
Thank you.
I think that the balance between information you had, information that you could collate, and information that could come not from source but from facts in collaboration with establishment which serve a larger national cause, that has become your reportage signature, and I compliment, because it is such a constrained time. There are pressures which media in itself in terms of a competition brings, but to put your nation first is a value that I think the Indian media has not been celebrated. And I'm saying this not only about you, I'm, with your permission, on your channel saying it about media editors and stalwarts across. I can say this as somebody who's had seniority. I can pull rank on you in media. And say this today. Rahul Kaval has joined your network, Vishnu Shom.
Yes.
But apart from that, Navika Kumar in times now, Arnab Goswami. You all may compete, you all may differ, but you're all nationalists. Your old friend Gaurav Sawant. And I think that that is the one aspect not many people grasp enough, that the Indian media, and especially television news networks, they always put India first.
Yeah.
And I think that Operation Sindoor showed that you would give anything and everything to defend the might and the valor of the Indian Armed Forces. That being said, I also believe geopolitically, as we grow stronger economically, you will find that you are left to defend yourself on many parameters. That will happen when you're no longer a fragile country, where you have grown not only to the fourth largest economy, but you will also become, now you aspire and very publicly say, we want to be the number one economy in the world. When that competition gets intense, you will have even so-called friends try to elbow you out of that room. Mercifully, you have Prime Minister Modi at the helm. And mercifully, you have a citizenry, you have a media that will ensure that we do reach that pinnacle of success. I think out of all the virtues of Operation Sindoor, and especially the communication by the DGMO, which was spectacular, what is also heartening is the civilian who came out at one call in Chandigarh to say, tell me what I need to do to help the armed forces or to help administration. And that, I think, is what Operation Sindoor shall be most remembered for. Not only the valor of our armed forces, not only the valor of that fact, not only the dedication of the Indian media, but also that simple Indian civilian who says, tell me where do I need to sign up. So as an Indian, that was something I was very proud to witness.
It's and Operation Sindoor, as they tell us, is still very much on. So this is a story in motion. But, Ms. Irani, zooming back into India's own internal issues, I know you know that here on NDTV over the last week, we've been focusing on a story from Mumbai, a place that's very close to your heart. And I ask you this question both as someone who's made her life from Mumbai, but also as a politician, the identity politics that is,
I have to give
consumed.
you a disclaimer on that.
Yes.
My dadi is a Maharashtrian.
Yeah.
My dada is a Punjabi who post-partition settled in Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah, absolutely. So you speak
all
for both.
All three languages.
Amazing.
Punjabi, of course.
So who better than you to
Hindi
say something about
and
it?
Marathi. I think that for us, we celebrate, at least my family is one of those witnesses and evidences. We celebrate the complexities and the generosity of our culture, our heritage. But as an Indian, not as a politician, let me answer this. When the world turns against you, the only person you can count on is a fellow Indian.
Yeah.
So in a country of 16,000 dialects and 125 constitutionally recognized language, I don't care who has what headline. All I care about is when the nation calls, no matter what language you speak, will you step up?
Yeah. Do you think more needs to be done about it, because there are so many compulsions when it comes to
I think that
politics?
The government of the day is mindful of the cultural heritage that we celebrate. The government of the day is mindful of the political compulsions or the political strategies of many regional parties. So that is best left for the government to explain either an order or an administrative direction. I can speak as an Indian that there are so many forces around us that are trying to break us. How can we build better, build for a better India? That's all that we as citizens need to focus on.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, the external threat, I believe, is something that requires our attention, and we should try and bury any perceived differences that we have.
There is always the beauty of democracy and the parliamentary system is it gives you a platform, a very dignified one, where the people have a lot of belief in to discuss any issues. The idea that we as people want to ensure our polity does for us is to mind the gap and fill the gap. If we can do that as politicians, that is our greatest service to our country.
As we bring this interview to a close, and I thank you very much and wishing you all the best for what's coming next in just a few weeks from now, I did want to share a little anecdote that even though you are completely self-made and it's only your hard work that's brought you to where you are, I hear that NDTV's HR had a small little role to play in
Oh, yes.
Smriti Irani becoming the
Of
superstar
course.
that she is today. Please tell us that story.
So in Sapna, east of Kailash, there's a very famous movie theatre. Opposite it, a white storied, one-floor NDTV office is where I went when I was an 18-year-old. I had seen The World This Week and thought that maybe I had a shot as a journalist. And I had submitted an application for HR to consider that may I be please hired by this very, very esteemed organization. And I was turned away saying, I may not be suitable. Who knew a newsroom that turns me away one day will interview me. But thank God for that HR person.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be where I am today.
Incredible. So on their behalf, I'm going to say you're welcome and wishing you the very best.
Thank
you,
you.
Smriti Irani, for speaking to us here on NDTV. That was our big exclusive of the season, and we're all looking forward to what comes next. Thanks for watching. News continues here on NDTV.